Today's episode will show you how to generate £600,000 gross profit from this one deal without ever owning the property. If that sounds like something you'd want to listen to, so you know how exactly to structure deals like this without having to own a property, then all you need to do is listen to this episode where Ryan walks you through his deal structure from a real deal that's on the table right now. Let me know what you think of this episode. Tweet me at RyanOttoX or leave a review and I'll send you another episode. Sound like a deal? Show me the money on Wednesday. If you have a deal right now and you don't know the best way to structure it, if you post a deal in the community group on Facebook called Property Crash Course, Ryan will help you unlock hidden profits and save you from locking yourself into a loss on those bad deals that every property sourcer wants you to buy.
Okay, so let me give you guys some context first. I've been asked a question from an investor, or actually from a group of investors have asked a similar question. So this episode is to give you the answer about how to structure this particular deal. Okay, now, let me give you some context. So this particular deal is a property, a large property, a building, which the investor wants to take on and convert into individual apartments. Okay, so one building, an investor wants to enter into that deal and convert that property into apartments. Okay, so separate apartments, and then obviously sell the property for a lot more money. So we're going to use the figures of just 1 million to keep it simple for the building right now. Okay, so this investor has found the property, found the building from somebody that they know, they're familiar with, that has the building, they have the asset, but they don't have the money, and they don't have the knowledge or experience or confidence, in fact, to convert the building into apartments and then sell them. Now, there's a multitude of reasons why many people won't want to or be in a position to convert the building. It could be that they don't know how to do it. It could be that they don't have the money to do it. It could be they don't have the confidence to do it. It could be they don't have the skills to do it. Or it could be that they just don't have the balls to do it, okay? So maybe they want somebody else to, well, maybe they would never do it at all. So when somebody else comes along who knows how to do this, has the skills, has the experience, has the knowledge, or has access to that information from somebody else who's done it before, who maybe they use as a consultant, they can be the front person, they can be the front man, they can get advice from a mentor who's done this, been there, done it, has a t-shirt, and then they can obviously get that building converted, and everybody makes money. Instead of the alternative, nobody makes money. Nobody converts the building stays as it is, maybe it gets sold at the market value. Okay, so this episode is to give you guys the answer to that question. One person has the building who is not in a position to convert it. Me, the investor, or you, the investor, can step in, approach that seller and say, hello, Mr. Seller, whether you know them or not, of course you have to build a relationship. You can't just go in cold and say, yes, let's just work together in a joint venture. They don't know you from Adam. So there's lots of other things that have to go on in the background before you can get to the position of floating this idea of doing a partnership with them. So they have the building.
Let me ask you a question. Are you and your family prepared for when the economy crashes and your bank balance goes to zero? In the aftermath of the 2008 property crash, I held a keynote talk in Piccadilly around property investment tactics that work when the economy crashes. And these tactics saved me in the 2008 crash. Let me share them with you real quickly. The first one is buying properties for £1 without getting a mortgage, without putting a deposit down, and without any credit whatsoever. The next strategy is finding properties with £25,000 to £50,000 of instant equity. The next strategy is buying a property today and paying for the property later when it's worth more, a lot more in the future. The next strategy is renting HMOs and student properties and any properties up to 75% below the market rent. This gives you massive cash flow right now. And then the next strategy is raising from £4,000 to £14,000 from properties that you just rent. This can be used as get started cash for whatever you want in your business. Now, I created a free training to walk you through the only strategies that will save your bank balance from going to zero. I'm serious. If you just go to www.propertycrashcourse.com and tell me where to send this free training.
The building right now is worth around about £1 million as one particular house, okay? The building developed into 5 separate flats for this particular property is, 4 flats. Hold on a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 5 flats. The building is worth around about 2 to 2.2 million. Okay, let's just say 2 million to keep it simple. So building worth 1 million now converted into luxury flats is worth in the region of about 2 million, okay? The conversion costs, whatever it costs to convert the property, we've looked at this in depth and it costs around about £400,000, okay? 1 million to buy the building, 400,000 to convert the building, around about 2 million to sell the building. That leaves a £600,000 gross profit. Now, the investor can't get access to that £600,000 profit on his own unless he buys the building and then puts the money in and then does this and then the carrying cost, then converts it, then this, then gets the planning and everything else, and then they will get that money, obviously less whatever their costs are. The easiest way to do this deal and to structure this deal is approach the person selling, the vendor, the friend, the family member, whoever they are, and say to them, okay, you have the building, it's on the market for 1 million, it's a difficult market, maybe you get an offer, maybe it sits empty for a while, maybe you sell it for 900,000, 800,000, maybe even £1 million, whenever that is, maybe you get offered 950,000. What I'm prepared to do as the investor, this is the answer, is to work with you and say to you, you want £1 million, I'll give you the £1 million. Okay? So I'll give you the £1 million. What I'm also going to do is give you probably in the region of about 1.1 million. They'll be thinking 1.1 million, but it's up for 1 million. Why would you give me 1.1 million? Now, the reason why you would give them 1.1 million is because we've just established that there's around about £600,000 profit in that building once it's converted. Now, I don't want to buy the building, pay stamp duty, have the building empty, all the costs, take it through planning and everything else, which incurs, a lot of money in costs and voids there, to then make the same amount of money at the end. So what do? Approach the vendor, approach the seller, approach the owner and say to them, you want £1 million, how about I give you 1.1 million in this particular way? We agree the million for the building today, the full asking price you've asked for. All I want to do is apply for planning permission while you still own the building. We have a contract that covers this, drawn up from a solicitor. And then once we get planning permission, I will put all the money in for the planning, I will put all the money in for the conversion, and I will get the property sold. This will probably take in the region of about 18 months, okay?
Make sure you've subscribed, because tomorrow you'll get problems, challenges, and opportunities on Thursday. Every Thursday, Ryan takes you deep inside his business, sharing his problems, walks you through his challenges, talks about the opportunities that you only find once you've broken through the wall. That's the secret that every entrepreneur discovers, because the biggest problem in your business today usually becomes your greatest opportunity and asset tomorrow.
Because of that, instead of the million, I'm going to give you 1.1 million. It's made up in this way. 1 million will agree for the building today. So you get the first million. Everything above that, we would either share or you would just get the 1.1 million when the building is sold. So you're effectively entering into a joint venture, a partnership with the vendor. Everything is drawn up through the lawyers. Value of the building today, your purchase price 1 million. You have permission, consent to apply for planning permission and everything else that you need to do to get the planning permission. And then you would have to structure the finance or put the money in around whatever it costs to convert the building. Now, there is other options. It does make it a bit more complex. Development finance or bringing on another partner on your side to cover the funding of the building. These things you'd have to have written into the joint venture contract. For example, you can borrow money based on the GDV. So let's look at the price. Let's say it's worth 2 million when it's done, and you have the planning permission, which will cost you several £1,000s to take it through the planning process. So you've got planning. Now you've got an asset which is valued at potentially 2 million when it's done. You can approach the bank. There is development finance, development funding, and different, financing structures and vehicles that you guys will have to, work out what's the best vehicle for you to fund this package. And then you can sometimes borrow money secured on the asset. Again, that's something you'd have to have written into a contract with the developer or with the vendor or with the owner, that part of you giving them the 1.1 million, £100,000 more, or you'd give them $1 million and share 25% or 50% of the net profit at the end, which could be the 600,000 less your costs. So they'll get more than $1 million, and you will need these certain things written into the contract. Everything is possible. Nothing is impossible. Everything is possible as long as you just sit down with the vendor, work out what they need. When you know what they need, because this wouldn't work if they need the money tomorrow, but this does work if you can give them more money next year. If they have the time, you can give them more and use the funding, use the finance, use the mortgage already on that property to take it all the way through the planning process and then restructure the finance, or then refinance a property, or then refinance out of that particular deal onto bridging finance, etc. There's lots and lots of different funding and finance packages that you can use to structure the finance in this particular way. So you don't actually need to have the money to buy the building for $1 million. By paying them 1.1 million, you'll actually make more money anyway by not buying the property, stamp duty, carrying costs and everything else that comes with it, and jumping through hoops and all the shenanigans. And this is quick. This is fast. This is quick. It's like that. So you can go out, find properties, find apartments, find houses, find entire buildings that you can do a loft conversion, an extension, even convert them into flats if you're going big straight away. And then you can pay them their full asking price and give them a share of the profit, a share of the uplift. Does that make sense?
He's a #1 Amazon bestseller. He's an NLP manipulator. He's a property course seller. He's a Lamborghini driving multi-millionaire property guru. Forget that same old boring I am me narcissistic podcast format, because nobody gives a fuck. This podcast is all about you. So I'm taking these few seconds to thank you for subscribing, to thank you for leaving your 5-star reviews, and thank you for sharing this show with all of your friends. My team and I will keep bringing you these episodes and answering all of your burning questions in my Facebook community group called Property Crash Course. If you can just keep telling all of your friends about this show.